Okay, time to get your first jobs and your first reviews. Step number one of that. What I want you to do, I want you to make a list of people that you have access to. Everyone you have access to. This might be social media, this might be friends, this might be family, this might be your contacts in your phone, etc., etc. You get the idea. Split that group into two groups, a list A and a list B. List A is all the people that do qualify. They all qualify for your service. They are potential clients. List B is all the people that do not qualify. They do not qualify to be your clients. So they're not a potential future client, but they are someone you have access to. So let's say you're a local service and you have family members that live non-locally. Well, you know them, but they don't qualify. Does that make sense? That would go into list B. Let's say you know someone and you're a pool cleaner and they have a huge pool and they've been complaining about their pool service and they live like 2 minutes down the street. Okay, clearly you know them and they do qualify. They're a list A type of situation. Does that make sense? Okay. That'll take you to step two. I want you to reach out. We're gonna get rid of list A for now. Not get rid of, set aside. We'll come back to that later. For now, we're looking at list B. Reach out to all of list B, and briefly explain your how and your who. Remember, this is what we did in the what lesson earlier. I put that as a little note so that you can remember. When we figured out our what, we figured out our how and our who. Okay, so for me, it would be like, hey, and this is I would personalize this, but basically I'm just saying, hey, I clean nice cars for rich guys. You can personalize it though. Hey, Dave, how you doing? How's the baby? Hey, I'm starting a detailing company where I'm going to be trying to clean really nice exotic cars for wealthy guys in the area. Okay, there you go. Tell them that your mentor said reviews matter a ton and you're trying to get more reviews. I tell you, Dave, so I got a mentor and he's been telling me that the biggest thing I can do right now for my company is to try to get a lot of reviews on Google My Business. What that's going to do is it's going to tell everyone in the area that I have good stuff and it's really going to help catapult me at the beginning here. So I was wondering, would you be willing to take literally 2 seconds and leave me a review? I can send you a link. Okay, ask if they can give you a review and send them the link. Now, I put a note here. Some of you guys might be thinking, but I've never worked for them. How can they leave me a review? And I said, the answer is in the question. They are giving you the review, not your service, okay? So I want to give you an example. Here's a review, and it says, Gabriel, which is my name, is an incredibly diligent person and very hardworking. I would trust him with your vehicle. Versus, Gabriel was a very diligent and hardworking young entrepreneur today. I would recommend him to anyone else. Okay, those are two examples, and you can see how similar they are. Gabe did a great job on my car, incredibly diligent and hardworking. Very small difference between the review of the character of the person and the review of the job they did. That's what we're trying to do. Right now, you have no credibility as far as what job you can do, but you do have credibility as far as who you are from a character level. That's better than nothing. What we're gonna do, reach out to people who aren't potential customers and ask them to vouch for your character. That's what they're doing. They're leaving a review of your character. That's step number one. That is getting your first reviews. Now let's hop into getting our first jobs, which is what we're gonna be using list A for. Okay, time to get your first jobs. Listen, if you're saying, hold up, the price that we came up with before, it just seems a little high. I don't know if I'm worth that yet, and I don't have experience, and how am I gonna justify that? It's okay. You are 100% right. You are not worth that price yet. That's okay. Here's the key. A lot of people think they wanna start with cheap prices and then raise them. That's not the answer. The answer is a founder's discount. That's what I like to call it. See, the founder's discount is 50% off for the first 5 orders, 25% off for the next 5 orders, full price after that. Here's what this looks like, okay? This is why even people who have no experience can still set their price higher than average, because you're gonna end up charging half at first, and then 3/4, and then you're full. Does that make sense? So by the time you're charging full price, you have experience. It's just that those who had experience before any of this can still charge more. The main difference here is value perception. If you start at cheaper prices and then raise them over time, it will seem like you had a cheap service, a poor quality service, a beginner service, and over time that has grown. If you have a high price but start with a founder's discount, what it says is premium service for a temporary cheap price because of me being new. Does that make sense? And it's much better to start as a premium man offering a discount, a massive discount at the beginning, than to start as the newbie and then try to retrain people's opinion of you as you go. Also, most people don't want a newbie working for them. They would rather get the good quality service. And so it's much easier as well for them to be getting a massive deal than for them to be putting up with a newbie, even if they're only paying a little bit of money. It's the way people think. Psychology, folks. Step 1, we're gonna reach out to list A. This is all the people you know that are qualified for your service. I want you to give them the same who and how, which is your what, which is, I help these people by doing this. And then I want you to not ask if they're interested. I want you to ask if they know, I definitely spelled that wrong, if they know anyone interested in a great deal on fill in the blank. So for me, it would be detailing, hey Dave, I just wanted to let you know, I started a detailing company where I am detailing high-end cars for wealthy men. Right now, as I'm starting up, I'm offering an amazing founder's deal, 50% off for the first 5 people that book. I was wondering if you know anyone who would love a great deal on detailing. That's the idea. Now, you can figure out how to personalize it, you can figure out your own methodology, but that's the idea. Now, why is it so important to ask if they know anyone that's interested? Here's why. 1, it takes off a little bit of the pressure of you being salesy. What you're doing is you're trying to get the word out. You're not trying to play the friend card and force them to help you. If you just say, would you be interested? Now they're saying no to a friend. If you're just reaching out saying, do you know anyone that's interested? You being friends means that they're the first to hear about it, not the first to be pressured into it. Does that make sense? Also, I put this note here. The average person's network, now I know this varies, but the average person's network is 1,000 people. That means if you ask all of your network, you ask 1,000 people. However, if you ask about their network, they each also have a network of about 1,000 people. Okay, so what does that lead to? It leads to reaching 1 million people. 1 million people. Now, I'm not naive. I know that that is a very weak connection, but it's 1 million connections. 1 million. In order to get your first 5 jobs, which is to get through this entire section of discounts, you would only need to get 1 yes for every 200,000 no's. 200,000 no's. 1 yes. That leads to 1 customer. Let's say the detailing, for example. Let's say that 1 yes leads to the 1 person out of those 200 that's actually a car guy. And so he has me do 3. And then let's say his network is more primed to my service because he's a car guy. So he's blown away with my work and he refers me out to 2 other guys and they each book me for 2 cars. Okay, that's 4 plus 3. That's your first 7 jobs off of your first yes, and you still have 800,000 weak connections to go through. Yeah, they're weak, but they're still connections. If you do this right, if you make it count, you will get your first handful. To give you an idea, I had to reach out to about my first 4 people, 5 people in order to get my first few jobs. It's just the way that it works, okay? So reach out to List A. Give them the discount. Tell them what you're doing. Ask if anyone's interested. Tell them the idea. This is what you're looking at. Go get your first jobs. I will see you in the next step, where we are going to be talking about how to manage your to-dos.